Are you feeling defeated today? Well, if you are, then this video is going to be for you. Hey guys, my name's David, and I just wanted to come talk to you a little bit today and give you some hope and encouragement. And I have many times in my life been where I felt defeated, was defeated at the moment, felt hopeless, felt alone, felt like there was prison bars around me that I couldn't get out of the place that I was in. And it's not a good place to be. It's not a good feeling. And I want to tell you there's hope today. And I want to share some of my story, maybe a little bit with you. And just this video is not going to be, I don't know everything. I'm not going to pretend to know everything. I just want to share some things with you that I believe and hope will give you some hope. And that's what I want to do today. That is my objective today. One of my favorite words is the word victory. And the word victory means to win. It means to overcome. It means to triumph in spite of adverse circumstances. And sometimes in life, we think that winning means there are no adverse circumstances. And that's just simply not the case. We wish it would be. It's nice when everything seems to be going well and everything's just rocking along and it feels smooth. And most of us have had some of those times in our life where it felt good. And then we get knocked off our perch, so to speak. And that doesn't feel so great. But winning doesn't mean there isn't adversity in life. It means that you can have victory and triumph. You can win in spite of those things, in spite of the way you feel. And so that's what I want to talk to you about today. And I wanted to share with you that winning to me and success to me may not be what winning is to you or success is to you or to somebody else. You know, winning to me is not having a bunch of stuff. I've had a bunch of stuff in my life at times, but that's not winning to me. And the older I get, I'm 58, and the older I get, and the more I've gone through in life, crisis, times, and everything else, winning to me these days is having peace. Winning these days to me is having, like my wife in my life, somebody that loves me and somebody that I can love and somebody that we can encourage each other. Winning is having flexibility with my life. Winning is having the ability to do things that me and my wife want to do, and we're not under the yoke of a bunch of, unnecessary bills. And that kind of stuff is winning to me. Now, to you, winning might be having a new set of golf clubs or something. That doesn't mean anything to me because I don't even play golf. But winning means a lot of things to a lot of different people, or different things to different people. So I'm not going to try to tell you exactly what winning is, and that's not the objective of this video. But to give you hope if you don't feel like you are winning in life and if you feel like you're defeated. Now, there's a term that I use a lot and have for several years now, that victory or winning, victory is in the doing. Victory is always in the doing. And a lot of people like to talk about doing something, changing something in their life. They talk about dreams they have in their life. They dream of having a certain life or a certain kind of life or doing a certain kind of job. Maybe dream of transitioning from one kind of career they're in now to another kind of career. Dream of all kinds of things. Have plans and dreams. A lot of times it's not plans, it's just dreams. It's just thoughts in their head. And but they never do anything towards it. They never take action toward these things. And it is more difficult when you're feeling knocked down at the moment to take any kind of action. I understand that. And I'm not going to try to make light of that because there's a feeling of hopelessness that almost tethers you to the couch a lot of times. But you can get untethered. And that is by your choice. And I have Well, there was five boys with me and my siblings. There was five of us that are all boys. My oldest brother's passed away, and my youngest brother's passed away now. But two of my brothers, one of them, man, he's a dreamer. And he was always talking about things and thinking about things that he wanted to do in his life. And, he just always on and on, forever dreaming, forever talking about it, but never taking action and never having any of those things that he dreamed about and talked about for years coming to fruition in his life. And man, he could talk passionately about it. I mean, if you didn't know him and you sat and talked with him for a little while, you think, man, this guy, he's going places. He's fixing to do great things in his life. And he never really did. But he wanted to. It was locked up on the inside of him. And how many of you have had these things locked up on the inside of you? They're in there and you think about them, and sometimes it almost seems so real that you could just taste it. And sometimes maybe you've reached toward things and they just seemed a little out of your reach. And it's deflating. Feel like somebody come along and pop your balloon a lot of times. Not to ever have those things happen. And that brother was my oldest brother, and he's passed away now. And the dreams and the hopes and the things that he talked about, they passed away with him. But then I have another brother of mine. I don't think that I've ever heard him talk about dreams or plans that he had. I can't remember a time that I ever heard him talking to me. He's not a big talker. I mean, he's a social guy, but he doesn't get into these deep conversations like my oldest brother did. If you were around him, he's easy to joke with, have fun with, but to get into some deep conversations about dreams and stuff, never once do I remember ever hearing in my 58 years him talking about that stuff. But man, he's the most successful one of the five of us. And, it's because even though he didn't spend all his time talking about it, he was taking action all throughout his life. From, he's older than me, but all of the thoughts and memories that I have of that brother through the years have been about him taking action and working towards stuff and being a doer of stuff. And did it mean that he didn't have, sometimes we think, everything just came easy to that one. Man, he had just as much adversity and sometimes more adversity than the other brother. But he was always fighting the fight. He was always putting his hand to something. And he was frugal with his money and his things. And, the other brother, and I'm not trying to pick on my oldest brother, but I know that he, even though he's passed away, he wouldn't mind telling you these things. I know that he wouldn't. But he wasn't real frugal and thoughtful about those things. And like I said, the dreams died with him. Your dreams don't have to die without coming to fruition. And whatever success is to you, you can move towards it. But victory, winning, is always going to be in the doing. It's always going to be in taking some kind of action. And, I've gone through, people say, well, you don't know what I've gone through. I may not be going through what you are going through right now. I may not have gone through it before. But I assure you, I've gone through many things. I've gone through divorces. That is plural. I've gone through career changes. I've gone through drug addiction. I've gone through losing spouses and my children being taken off and not seeing my kids. I've gone through the loneliest times. I've gone through geographical changes. And I've gone through hardships where there was times in my life where, one time I lived in a big house on a golf course, and I don't even play golf. Like I said I don't even play golf. But there's also been times I went from that to living in a camper owned by some friends of mine, a little 32-foot camper. And I mean, you could use the bathroom, brush your teeth, and take a shower all at the same time because it was so small. And that was after me living in the big old house on the golf course. I had a big fine house and a fancy car and a great job with great pay, and I was respected. I went from that to getting knocked down, and I will tell you, by choices and decisions that I made that weren't good, and you know, went through divorce, and you know, my kids not being there, and lost my career and my fine vehicle and all my toys I had and my big old house, all at the same time. And I was having to go through all this at one time. And I totally felt defeated. And I felt like there was no way that I could ever recover from that. No way I could ever get back up. That's how I felt. But I want to encourage you that how you feel right now, if you feel knocked down, if you feel like a failure, if you feel defeated, if you feel like you can't get back up, you may very well feel like that, and that may be true. But the inability to get back up, the inability to change things is not the truth. And that ability lies within you. I have something else I talk about many times, that, you know, I'm a Christian unapologetically, and the things that I share with you are going to be from a Christian standpoint, a biblical standpoint. I'm not trying to preach to you or anything. Like I said, I just want to give you hope and encourage you. But you know, the inability, a seeming inability, it seems like many times, that man, so many people face that, but it is not the truth. And something that I talk about, what I started to share with you a second ago, is that I have something I say that, well, a lot of Christians talk about moving mountains in their life. There's mountains. The Bible talks about, you know, speaking to the mountain in your life. And yeah, that's great. But the greatest mountain that you will ever have to face in your life is not some exterior circumstance. The greatest mountain that you'll ever have to face in your life is not your spouse or your kids or your you know, behind-headed boss, not your wayward children, not your geographical location, not any of that. The greatest mountain that you'll ever have to face is you. It's the mountain that I call me, myself, and I. It's the mountain of your own self. And we don't like to hear that. We would always want to be able to blame it on somebody else. Well, if they would do this, then no. And in my life, when I was in that by yourself, the loneliest bayou in the world, is by yourself. And in my life, when I was in the place where I was knocked down and felt like I was knocked out, I had to make the choice to quit looking at everybody else and what had been done to me. And some of that was true, some of it wasn't. But I had to look in the mirror, and I had to begin to work on me, myself, and I. I had to overcome the obstacle of me. And I had to make a move. Victory is always in the doing. And sometimes the only doing that you say, well, I can't do this. And I'll talk about that more in a minute, the I can't thing. But sometimes we're limited maybe in what we can do, but there is always something we can do. And one thing that we can always do is change ourselves. We can change the way we think. We can change our attitude toward ourselves and toward others and toward life. We can quit looking down and quit looking back at what's gone and what's lost, and we can start looking up and we can start looking forward, because that's the direction that we desire to go. And you're never going to go forward as long as you're tying yourself to what's behind you. You can do that. You can start in a moment doing that. Does that mean your whole life will be different and the fruit of victory is going to be in your life tomorrow? Wow. Now, I'm not saying that. But you can begin to move towards that right this instant. And that is by making a choice to do so. You can start where you are, or you will stay where you are. And that choice is up to you. And so many times we focus on what we don't have and our inabilities, instead of looking around to see what we do have and where we do have some abilities. And I mean, I used to think sometimes these people that, are hanging out, I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but sometimes people are hanging out on the corner with a sign that says anything helps. And a lot of times I'd like to roll down my window and say, yes, work helps. And they think, well, I don't have a job. And I had one person tell me one time years ago, they said, man, get you a bottle of Windex, and a rag. And if you're going to stand at that corner, offer to clean people's windshield for $1 or something. In other words, do something with what you have. Earlier today, my wife and I were in Lowe's getting a few things, and there was a lady checking out in front of us, and one of her feet was totally twisted over. She had shoes on, but one of her feet was totally twisted over. And with that foot, it was walking on the side. The inside of the foot was like her ankle was on the ground. And I've known able-bodied people wallowing in the pit of, despair and so forth. And here I looked at this lady today and I thought, man, how many people would be in those shoes that would just want to give up? But here she is doing something. I've got a friend that not too long ago, he had to have his leg amputated. But he gets up, he goes to the gym, he's doing something, he's moving forward, he's doing something. And victory is always going to be in the doing. And maybe your dream is to be financially successful. That's great. And, I'm not coming at this from the standpoint of, hey, being a multimillionaire. But I mean, whatever it is, if that's your dream, what are you doing towards it? You can sit there and talk about what you don't have and talk about what you can't do. And that is never going to get you even moving in the direction that you desire to go. And sometimes, talking about the dream that you have is good, but not to everybody. And I've known people, and I've done it before in my own life. We talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. Talk about losing weight. Talk about going on a diet. Talk about changing careers. Talk about whatever. And we're thinking about it, which is a good thing. And we're talking about it. And sometimes we're just talking to everybody about it. And we're never taking action toward it. And talking about it sometimes is good, but talking about it sometimes is not. Sometimes you need to quit, just turn that talker off, man. Just sew them lips up and begin to put your hand to the plow of something. Dreaming is great, but if all you ever do is dream about something, think about something, and talk about something, and you never take action toward it, then you will stay right where you're at. And I'm sure you don't want to. It's a miserable place to be in defeat. And the thing is, it's a lie and an illusion to think that you can't come out of it, because you can. You can come out of it. Your biggest obstacle is not your lack of education. Your biggest obstacle is not any of the things you think you're lacking. Your biggest obstacle is you. You are the greatest thing that's in your way of getting out of the hole and getting on top in your life. And so whatever success is to you, if it's making more money, if it's being a better spouse, if it's finding a spouse. My oldest brother that I was talking about earlier, before he passed away, he would always say, man, God's going to send me a queen. Man, God's going to send me a queen. And I mean, I love my brother. I had many wonderful conversations with him, dreaming conversations with him. But he would always talk, and I would think, what would God send a queen along for you to be connected to a court gesture? Why would he do that to her? I mean, if you want a queen, then you need to become a king. You can work on yourself, but so many times we're waiting on pie in the sky. Oh, waiting for a ship to come in. You go out and get it. You go out and get that ship. There's a saying, and I don't know who the quote originated from, but it's that fortune favors the brave. And in a sense, that is true because you have to be brave enough to take action. But I would think that fortune favors the doer. Fortune favors those that actually put their hand to something. Fortune favors those that take action. Yeah, it does. It favors those that take action. Again, guys, I'm not saying that if you begin to take some kind of action today, that tomorrow the whole world's gonna, be filled with sunshine with no clouds. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm telling you, if you will begin to take action today, and sometimes the action is a mental adjustment, a paradigm shift in your mind. But whatever it takes, you've got to get it from just being in your mind to stepping towards it. Maybe that is getting a pen and a piece of paper and writing down some goals and plans that you've got. Well, I'm not big on writing this stuff down. So what? Do it anyway. What am I doing? I'm taking action. Sometimes it's just, what if your goal is to change your body, you're tired and lazy and physically unfit or so forth, then get up off the couch and walk around the living room. You're like, it's raining outside, then get up and walk around the couch a few times instead of laying on it. Well, I can't buy all these supplements. So many times people have asked me in my life, what kind of protein powder do you take? What kind of, no. If you want to lose weight, and we'll talk about that in another video, but so many times people have asked me, because I have lost a lot of weight in my life, and but they would ask me, what kind of food do you eat? And it's like, no, the greater question is, put the fork down, So it's like, well, I might not have, hundreds of dollars to go buy the, meat these days is crazy expensive, beef and so forth. I can go eat ribeyes or whatever, but I can put the fork down. You can do that. But no, we're too busy looking at what we don't have and what we can't do. I'll say this, I like to say this, and I've said this many times to many people. It is never, ever a matter of can or can't. It is never a matter of can or can't, but it is always a matter of will or will not. We think, oh, I can't do that. No, you refuse. You will not move towards it. And the ones that focus on the I can do it are just the ones that are willing to get up and move towards it. They will themselves to move towards it. Is it easy? I'm not saying that. It's not. Making great changes in your life don't come about overnight, but the decision to make the move and the initial movement can come about in an instant. It's about the power that you have to choose something. You can stay where you are, or you can start where you are. I have much more to say about these things. We'll do it in another video. If this has helped you, if this has encouraged you or at least sparked you to want to hear some more about what I have to say on it, hit the like, subscribe button just so you can see the video again when I talk about this soon. I care about you. I care about you being able to not stay in that place of feeling defeated, but you can get up and move again. Just remember, I'll leave you with this, guys. My name is David, and victory is always, always in the doing. Victory is always in the doing, and you can do it.